Some disappearances happen suddenly. Others happen while someone is still talking. In the early morning hours of May 14th, 2008, a 19-year-old college student called his parents for help. He said his car was stuck in a ditch. He wasn't hurt. He just needed a ride home. They stayed on the phone with him for nearly an hour, driving through the night, trying to find him. They never did. This is the quiet mystery of Brandon Swanson. Brandon Victor Swanson was 19 years old and lived in Marshall, Minnesota. He had just finished his first year at Minnesota West Community and Technical College, where he was studying wind turbine technology. He was close with his parents, described as responsible, and not known to disappear or take risks without reason. Brandon had plans. He had a future. On May 13th, 2008, the spring semester had just ended. That night, Brandon stayed in the nearby town of Canby, Minnesota, spending time at small gatherings with friends. Nothing about the evening suggested it would end in a disappearance. Sometime before midnight, Brandon left Canby to drive back to Marshall. The drive should have taken about 30 minutes. At one point, Brandon briefly stopped at another person's home. After leaving there, he continued driving alone on rural roads. It was dark, and the roads were unfamiliar. And somewhere along the way, Brandon became disoriented. Shortly before 2 o'clock in the morning, he went off the road and became stuck in a ditch. At approximately 1:54 a.m., Brandon called his parents. He told them he's not injured, but that his car was stuck. He believed he was near the town of Lind. His parents immediately got into their truck and began driving around to find him, keeping him on the phone the entire time. For about 47 minutes, they tried to locate him. They flashed headlights. They described intersections. They asked if he could see town lights. Nothing matched. What Brandon believed was Lind was not Lind at all. At some point during the call, Brandon decided to leave the car and walk toward distant lights he believed were nearby. He mentioned fences. He mentioned water. He seemed confident that help was close. Then, suddenly, while still on the phone, Brandon exclaimed, "Oh, shit." And then, silence. The call did not clearly disconnect. His parents continued speaking into the phone, calling his name, waiting for a response. None came. By morning, Brandon had not returned home. His parents contacted law enforcement between 6 and 6:30 a.m. According to later reporting, officers initially stated that Brandon was an adult and had the right to be missing. There was no immediate assumption of danger. That response would later become one of the most controversial aspects of this case. Later that day, Brandon's car was found on a gravel road near Taunton, Minnesota. It was approximately 25 miles from where Brandon believed he was. The car was abandoned. Brandon was gone. Investigators later reviewed Brandon's cell phone records. The call had routed through a tower near Minnesota. This placed Brandon in the Taunton Porter area near Lind. It meant Brandon was much farther from home than he realized. His parents had been searching in the wrong direction, and Brandon's sense of location was critically flawed. His cell phone itself was never recovered. Search efforts began quickly and continued for years. Ground searches, search dogs, aerial surveys, repeated returns to the same areas. Despite the scale of these efforts, no definitive trace of Brandon was ever found. No phone, no clothing, no confirmed remains. Some investigators later suggested that Brandon may have fallen into a river or waterway, or succumbed to the elements after becoming disoriented. Others noted that the terrain alone could be deadly at night. But even after water searches and years of investigations, nothing conclusive has emerged. With no physical evidence, several theories remain. Accidental death is the most widely accepted explanation. Intentional disappearance? It's often discussed online, but strongly disputed by those who knew him. Foul play? It's never been proven, but it's never been fully ruled out either. After more than a decade, the truth remains unknown. Another thing about Brandon Swanson's disappearance: it changed Minnesota law. In response to cases like his, the state enacted Brandon's Law. The law requires missing adult reports to be taken seriously and investigated promptly. It exists because one family was told their son had the right to be missing. Brandon Swanson left his car believing help was nearby. He stayed on the phone with his parents, doing everything right, and still he vanished. No trace, no final answer. Only a phone call that ended in silence. Some cases end with evidence. Others end with answers. Brandon Swanson's case ended with neither. A voice on a phone line, a sudden silence, and a years-long search that has found nothing. Whether his disappearance was the result of misdirection, darkness, the elements, or something that is yet to be understood, what matters is this: a 19-year-old walked into the night believing help was nearby, and the night never gave him back. This has been A Quiet Mysteries, Quiet Mystery. Thank you for joining me.